I'm Marisa Brown, and I've been with APQC for many years, researching all aspects of the supply chain, product development, and innovation. When APQC talks about the supply chain, what we mostly mean is activities that fall under Section 4.0 on our Process Classification Framework. The Process Classification Framework, or PCF, takes the global enterprise, a generic enterprise, and breaks it down into categories, process groups, processes, activities, and so forth. And for supply chain, we're really looking at delivering products and services. To make that happen, though, there are a lot of very discrete process groups that have to be present in an organization. And to help organizations understand what we mean by these processes, we've gathered open standards data through our open standards benchmarking that really helps organizations compare their costs, their cycle time, the number of FTEs they have performing different processes to their peers across the globe. We look at peer groups in terms of industry peers, size peers, regional peers, and organizations can really see how they compare in the following areas of supply chain. So the first area we really look at is supply chain planning. Here we want to understand, how do organizations manage demand? How do they build a materials plan? What kinds of quality standards and procedures do they put in place? And so we have an open standards survey that goes along with this process framework that captures key measures and benchmarks so that organizations can see how they compare. The second area that we look at in supply chain is procurement. So when people think about how do you develop your sourcing strategy, where in the world you're going to go look for the raw materials that you're going to use to make your products and services. How do organizations select their suppliers? How do they develop contracts? And then the big kahuna of ordering materials and services. How do they go about doing that in effective and efficient ways? And managing their relationships with their suppliers. So in the area of procurement, APQC has gathered numerous benchmarks, and we also look a lot at best practices. We look at things like supplier category management, how that practice has really come into play in helping organizations improve their procurement activities. The next big area in supply chain is manufacturing. And here we're looking at how organizations schedule production and then actually produce their products and services and perform quality testing on them. Then we follow that with delivering the service to the customer. And then our last big area in the process classification framework is logistics. And here with logistics, we're really talking about the core of what many people think about when they think of the supply chain. It's defining your logistics strategy, thinking about what you'll outsource to third-party providers versus keep for your organization. It's looking at inbound transportation. It's looking at operating warehousing. We include under this outbound transportation and also the very important reverse logistics. So how do organizations manage returns and the flow of product and services back into their organization? And in our research, we've actually discovered that a best practice is using the same physical network for both forward and reverse logistics. Related to supply chain, but often reporting up through different parts of the organization, is product development, research and development, or R&D in many organizations. We include this under our big supply chain umbrella because in procurement you're buying the raw materials that will be used in these new products that are being created. And these new products are what flow through that logistics network we're talking about. So we see them as very related to each other. And in product development, we're really looking at how does an organization manage its overall portfolio of new products and services, and then how does it actually develop the new ones that they're going to bring to market. Related to this, we have the area of innovation. Innovation can include new product innovation, but it can also include a lot more. Innovation in our world includes also business model innovation, when organizations totally change the way in which they go to market. We also include in this innovation related to products and services, or innovation related to processes inside the company. So we take a very holistic view of innovation. So there's an open standards survey for innovation and a separate one for product development specifically. So when I step back and look at supply chain, product development, and innovation at APQC, we have a couple of key strengths. One of them is the depth of open standards data that we have. We've been collecting this information since 2004 in some of these areas, and we have a lot of rich peer groups and comparisons that we're able to draw. We also have deep best practices gathered over many years of best practices research. followed with many case studies on what companies are actually doing to be successful in their supply chain efforts. And when we go to market in the supply chain area, we really work through alliances. APQC wants to collaborate and build networks with the organizations that are already there. So that's how APQC frames our supply chain research. Thank you.